Svelte 5 is here, so let's read the blog post. Svelte 5 is alive. After almost 18 months of development comprising thousands of commits from dozens of contributors, Svelte 5 is finally stable. It's the most significant release in the project's history. Svelte 5 is a ground-up rewrite. Your apps will be faster, smaller and more reliable. You will be able to write more consistent and idiomatic code. For newcomers to the framework, there's less stuff to learn. Despite all that, Svelte is almost completely backwards compatible with Svelte 4. For majority of users, the initial upgrade will be completely seamless. What is Svelte? Svelte is a framework for building user interfaces on the web. It uses a compiler to convert declarative component code based on HTML, CSS and JavaScript into tightly optimized JavaScript. Because the compiler shifts a lot of the work out of the browser and into npm run build, Svelte apps are small and fast. But beyond that, Svelte is designed to be an enjoyable, intuitive way to build apps. It prioritizes getting stuff done. The team behind Svelte also maintains SvelteKit, an application framework that handles routing and data loading and server-side rendering and all the gory details that go into building modern websites and apps. What changed and why? For one thing, we have overhauled our website. You can read more about that here. As for Svelte itself, we will cover the why first. We are not fans of change for change's sake. In fact, Svelte changed less than any other major framework between 2019 when we launched Svelte 3 and now, which is an eon in front-end development, and people really like Svelte 3 and 4. It routinely tops developer surveys of satisfaction. So when we make changes, we don't make them lightly. With more and more people building more and bigger application with Svelte, the limitation of some of our original design decisions started to become more apparent. For example, in Svelte 4, reactivity is driven entirely by the compiler. If you change a single property of a reactive object in Svelte 4, the entire object is invalidated because that's all the compiler can realistically do. Meanwhile, other frameworks have adopted fine-grained reactivity based on signals, leapfrogging Svelte's performance. Equally, component composition is more awkward in Svelte 4 than it should be, largely because it treats event handlers and slotted contents as separate concepts, distinct from the props that are passed to component. This is because in 2019 it seemed like web components would become the primary distribution mechanism for components, and we wanted to align with the platform. This was a mistake, and while the $: construct for reactively rerunning statement is a neat trick, it turned out to be a foot gun. It conflicted two concepts, derived state and side effects, that really should be kept separate. And because dependencies are determined when the statement is compiled rather than when it runs, it resists refactoring and becomes a magnet for complexity. Svelte 5 removes this inconsistency and foot guns. It introduces runes, an explicit mechanism for, among others, declaring reactive state. Let count equal to 0, let count $state equal to $state bracket 0. Interacting with state is unchanged. With Svelte, unlike other framework, count is just a number rather than a function or an object with a value property or something that can be only changed with a corresponding set count. Runes can be used in .svelte.js and .svelte.ts modules in addition to .svelte components, meaning you can create reusable reactive logic using a single mechanism. Event handlers are now just props like any other, making it easy to, for example, know whether the user of your component supplied a particular event handler, which can be useful for avoiding expensive setup work or to spread arbitrary event handlers onto some event, things that are particularly important for library author. And the slot mechanism for passing context between components, together with the confusing let, and Svelte fragment syntax, has been replaced with a snippet, a much more powerful tool. Beyond these changes are countless improvements: native TypeScript support, no more preprocessor, many bug fixes, and performance and scalability improvements across the board. How do I upgrade? If you're currently on Svelte 3, begin by migrating to Svelte 4. From there, you can update your package.json to use the newest version of Svelte and ancillary dependencies like Vite plugin Svelte. You don't have to update your components immediately. In almost all cases, your app will continue working as is, except faster. But we recommend that you begin to migrate your components To use the new syntax and feature, you can migrate your entire app with npx sv migrate svelte-5, or if you are using VS Code with the Svelte extension, you can migrate components one at a time by selecting migrate component to Svelte 5 syntax in your command palette. Svelte has a large and robust ecosystem of component libraries that you can use in your application, such as shad cns svelte, skeleton, and flowbyte svelte. But you don't have to wait for this library to upgrade to Svelte 5. In order to upgrade your own application. Eventually support for Svelte 4 syntax will be phased out, but this won't happen for a while and you have plenty of warning. For more details, see the comprehensive Svelte 5 migration guide. Our new CLI, although with a new version of Svelte we have a new command line interface to go with it. You can learn all about it in the SV announcement video and in a forthcoming blog post. What's next? We plan to release a new version of SvelteKit in the near future that takes advantage of the new Svelte 5 features. In the meantime, you can use Svelte 5 with SvelteKit today, and npx sv create will create a new SvelteKit project with Svelte 5 installed alongside it. After that, we will have a laundry list of ideas we want to implement in Svelte itself. This release is the foundation for many improvements that would have been impossible to build on top of Svelte 4, and we can't wait to roll up our sleeves.